Okay, so we're here for part 3 of the 79 CB750K revival. Now in the last episode I mentioned that I had an issue with the wheels. This issue compounded a little bit further on itself. So it was recommended to me to get these Conti Go's, and this is again pointing to my lack of experience with motorcycles, because these Conti Go's, while they were highly rated tires, are not highly rated for weight. So like this front tire has a maximum weight load of 500 pounds. Well, guess what? The bike dry weighs 500 pounds. That's without my 180 pound ass on top of it. So these tires, not gonna work. So we've got a new wheel, which this one's not as pretty condition as the other one, but I just want to get this thing on the road for now. I'll worry about cleaning this up later. You can get these spokes new off of like eBay or wherever. I'll deal with that down the line. But we have a new front tire that is now rated for something. Yeah. Anyways, new tires are rated for the appropriate weight now. And that's all taken care of. What we're going to focus on today, though, is now that we have the new wheel, we can go back to getting the proper brake caliper set up for it. So this here is the proper brake caliper for a 79 CB750K. I had this one originally, and I threw it to the side thinking that I could use a different caliper. I couldn't. Whatever. We're back to here. Before I put this on the bike, though, I am going to clean it up, probably repaint it. I also have a rebuild kit here, so we'll be assembling that on the caliper as well. First, though, we're going to tear it down, get it cleaned up, repaint it. So here we go. Okay, so the brake pads have already been removed from this caliper, but the way you do it, there's this top plate here, hooks in like that, and then there's just a Phillips head screw right here. Undo that, this top plate comes off. That gives you access to the brake pads here. How you get them out is you gotta take this tab here, take a screwdriver, pop this little retainer up here, work the retainer out, and then there's these two pins right here. These pins are what actually hold the brake pads in. So again, work those out. And this one's a little stuck in there. There we go. So I'll probably wind up cleaning these up with either on the wire wheel or with some Scotch-Brite or something later. But yeah, so those pins are out. Now normally you could get the brake pads out there after that. I've already taken them out. Now to fully disassemble this thing, there's these two 12 millimeter bolts right here. So we'll go ahead and get these knocked loose. Okay, so there's the caliper kind of broken apart. So you can see this dust boot here, or whatever you want to call that, for the brake cylinder itself is pretty worn out. It's okay though, because we got a new one. Alright, we'll need to get this out, and then we need to tear apart this side and get these boots out. And you can see everything's just kind of crumbling apart here right now. All right. But it was even completely missing from this side. Okay, so I'll put that off to the side. So I'm going to get some pliers and see if I can hook on to pull these out. Normally you'd probably want to be a little bit smoother on these trying to get them out, but again, I have a new piston, so I don't really care about this one. That piston feels pretty seized in there. I'm just trying to get a look down through the hole here to see if I can get a better view of the piston. And I do see some corrosion in there. So I think what I'm going to do is we're going to call it here for a minute. I'm going to spray some PB Blaster down in here and let this sit for a little bit. And then we'll come back and try to get this loose. Okay. I did it. It's apart. It definitely took some fire persuasion and some channel locks to finally get this free, but it's out. I can finally get this thing cleaned up. Again, I'm not too worried about messing this one up because I have a new one here. Yeah, that's out. I'm gonna get this housing cleaned up and then we'll start. I'll probably put a fresh coat of paint on everything and then we'll start slapping it back together. Okay, so some time has passed. We've cleaned up and painted our parts for the brake caliper here. So it's now time to start reassembly. So we're going to start off here with the main piece. This is what the piston slides into here. So it'll go right into this section. But before we can put that in here, we need to put the seal in. This is the seal here. Pretty simple process. This kit even actually comes with a little bit of grease as well. But you want to take some grease and lube up the seal. And then inside the housing here for the brake caliper, there's a groove that the seal fits into. See, it's right here. Now the trick is getting the seal in straight. Which this is currently twisted, so let me get a pick to try to pull this out. Okay, never mind, there we go. That's worked out. So now we got the seal in the housing here. I'll go ahead and throw a little bit more grease on that. Just to help with the insertion of the piston. So again, this old piston was quite worn out, quite crusty. So the kit I got does come with a new piston. So you want to take your piston now, work it into the housing. There. So now we got the new piston in the housing. We need to throw a new boot or dust ground, whatever you want to call this, on it. So just like everything else, apply a little grease to the inside here. Alright. Now on the piston there's this groove here, and then on the body itself there's also another groove here. That's the two pieces that we need to get this dust shield around. Okay, so there we are, attached onto the piston. And now onto the body of the housing. Cool. So next piece is this bracket here. There are 4 additional boots that need to go on here, which also need to be greased. All right, so now do that 3 more times. All right, that is all of our dust shields reassembled here. So now to start reassembling this piece. So the bracket slides into the other piece of the housing here like this, and then attaches together like this. We do have these bolts here that hold the whole unit together. I'm going to go ahead and apply a little bit of grease to these bolts as well, just to make sure everything else is nice and lubed up. We've got our bleeder screw. Okay, this is a very important thing to find out. The bleeder screw that they sent me for this kit is not the right bleeder screw for this, so we're going to have to put the old one back in for now until I can get out and buy a new bleeder. So the problem is that the thread pitch is not only too big, but it's a coarse thread and not a fine thread, which is what this is. So we'll have to take care of that later. Also need to make sure to reattach the speedometer cable holder thing here. Okay, with that, we're ready to go back and install this on the bike and start putting the brakes back together. Okay, so now the brake caliper mounts right here on the bike. It's your bracket. You've got your two bolt holes here. These line up on the back side here. So there's the caliper back in the bike. Now for your brake pads, you just drop them straight in here. And once you have the pads in place, take your pin here. Alright, and then our second pin here. There we go. I need to grab some needle nose really quick and just twist these into position. Okay, and then we take our retainer clip here. There's these little holes on top of these pins here that this positions into. Slide that in there. Alright. Now we have that installed. Next we just put the top plate over. And that just hooks on the back side here. Folds down. Alright, last final touch, our speedo cable. That's the brake caliper reinstalled. Now, when I get it in, I'm currently waiting on a new brake line to come in. Once I get it in, that'll go in place here, and then like I said, I need to go out and buy a new brake bleeder because the one that came with this kit is not correct. So, yeah. That'll be it to top this off. I'll come back later on, do a video on bleeding this brake. Maybe, I don't know, we'll see, because bleeding brakes is actually super easy. You just crack this line, let it gravity bleed for a little bit, and then you just pump the handle until no more air comes out of the hose here. Yeah, anyways. Front caliper rebuilt, cleaned up, painted, and installed. That's it for today. See y'all next time.